Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Otakuology podcast. My name's Otaku Mike, and with me as always is Jin. He likes to sniff unicorn farts graves. And today we're doing something special. Something that I've covered on my YouTube channel, the Otaku Mike, recently, and I really enjoyed this, and I wanted to take my best buddy down this road with me, the road of Dork, and we are talking about issues 1 and 2 of Dork.
Yeah.
A fantasy epic like no other, I feel like. Like no other, I would say.
Well, so let me ask you this. Would you be the light side or the dark side?
I think I would probably be in the middle. I
You'd be
want to
of the
be. I want to be
you'd be
gray.
of the scar. You'd
I
be
want
of
to
the
be.
scar.
Yeah, I want to be the Scar. Like this book is so
Well,
creative. It's so weird.
I agree. It's uncanny, I would have to say. Like Spider-Man.
Let me just say, when this book came out, I think like a couple months ago. When this
Yeah.
book came out a couple of months ago, it wasn't really on my radar, but I picked it up. Like
Yeah.
I think I saw it. And I was like, "Oh, this looks fun," because I saw it on our friend of the channel, 22 Comics, on his YouTube channel. He talked about. I think he was gonna. He talked about it on like his Days of FOC podcast or videos that he does.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Oh, this looks and sounds fun." And it was like, "Well, you convinced me to put this on my list." I had no idea this book would blow up.
And then I picked it up.
No, it blew up, and in the first day, it tripled and doubled in price.
Yeah.
Like it was that insane of how this indie book, just like White Sky did, like it blew up and like became this weird indie phenomenon, one might say. Now, I don't know if it's been like that since after issue 1, because I don't know if it just had issue 1 hype, but yeah, this is the book that we are going to be talking about, as well as talk about White Sky in the future. These are two of the books that we've chosen to like go about and discuss, and I think you will pretty much really like this one because I think it's right up your alley. Because you like all the fantasy and the dragons and the dungeons and stuff.
Hell yeah. Well, I just like things in general, but
You just like all things.
I like all things.
I like all things. Let me ask you, did you look at the map at the beginning of this book?
I did.
Did you notice the names of like the places and stuff?
So I noticed a little bit of them, but I tried not to look at it too much because I didn't want to ruin it for myself. And like where we were at technically.
Yeah.
And I think I'm still confused where we're at.
Yeah. I don't really know where we're at, but I started when
I was like, where? Like when you get to chapter 2, they put the map back up at the beginning again, and I was sitting there looking at it, I was like, all right, so where's the bar from chapter 1?
Yeah, and then I was like looking at some of the names, and one was like Blood something. It was like Blood Cove or something, and they had some really funny creative names.
Yeah, and I think that's one thing that I like about it too. Like in the first page, you hear about it. Like they do call these people of the light and these people of the dark.
Yeah.
But honestly, there's no difference in it. Like, yes, one is more clean looking and one is more dirty looking, but they could have so much just called it the red team and the blue team, and I would have been sated with that as well.
Well, I mean, it's a battle for good versus evil, okay? Like this has been going on for years.
Well, and that's the funny thing is both sides seem exactly the same. One's just more clean, one's more dirty.
When we were going to get to that, I kind of wanted to touch on that, to be honest.
Oh, really? That they're almost the same?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, night and day. That could be better too. Night and day, like because like I feel like going into this, like even the description and everything of what what I was told of this is it's light and dark, and we think about it like Jedis and Sith. This is not like that at all.
No, it's not.
Like I said, this is like if you had a team red and a team blue.
They are
that's
blue
pretty
and
close.
They are blue and red, I think.
That is true. Yeah. Yeah, it's like blue and yellow and black and red. I mean, like, yeah,
But our story starts out with a little bit of an info dump, I would say, right?
yeah, just a little bit.
Just a little bit, just a little bit of an info dump.
Yeah, so this is the kind of info dump, and if you have been with us and listened to our White Sky one, this is the info dump kind of that I needed for White Sky.
Yeah, no, most definitely. Because
It,
this,
it wasn't long.
no,
It
it
was
wasn't.
pretty short and sweet and to the point. But the opposite that makes it from White Sky is there is nothing for that in White Sky. So
Yeah, no, yeah, most definitely. Like we had this battle going on between these two warring factions that have split this land somehow in the middle with
yes,
this place called the Scar, which is the place that like nobody really owns, but they are fighting over it for some strange, weird reason.
yeah, it's the border. They don't fight over it. Nobody owns it because it's the border in between. It's where both of these sides meet in the middle. And basically, why it's called the scar is it has basically left a scar on the land. And the way that it is talked about is whenever any of these two sides get in a fight, it's the scar because it's their blood. Their
Yeah.
blood has stained it into this thing. Which is something else. Like when I was told about it, that I was confused because I thought the scar was going to be like this mythical other place in the middle, and it wasn't. It wasn't
No,
that at
it's
all.
just a
It
little it's
was
just a little strip of land.
yeah, straight in the middle. It's where people fight. And getting further into this, even though you have that places on the border, it reminds me kind of like how people tell you about Valhalla, like Vikings. There's
Oh
not good
yeah.
Vikings and there's not bad Vikings because we have a bar that they go in and you have people that are neutral and there's a good guy and a bad guy and they're sitting there basically at the same table eating food together, kind of
Hmm.
sorta, and then one of them ends up saying something that rubs the other one the wrong way and they go, I'm going to kick your ass. Like that's just kind of how it is. Like there's not really like, yes, this is the light side, yes, this is the dark side, because somebody on close to the scar on either side of the line still sells food or does something for both of them. It is
Yeah.
very crazy in that aspect.
It's weird. It's weird. And we get this little thing at the beginning where like we see like they've been fighting for all this time and nobody really has lived in the Scar except for like one person.
Right.
And that person is our character Dork. And he's been living there for like I think like 20 years.
Yeah,
So that would make him like
which
20, I think.
yeah,
I'm
which
guessing, I don't know.
I'm kind of confused in that aspect of, did he is that true? Did he only live here because when we get the part where his magic shield,
Uh-huh.
which is basically just a possessed common shield with a curse on it that we don't know, has a big eyeball in the middle of it.
Yeah.
Basically, he's naming off food that Dork could go get, and he brings up this one spot, and he goes, "Oh, this whatever gravy mutton thing does sound good."
Yeah, it was like Gravy Gulch, I think it
Yeah,
was.
and he knew where this place was. So to me, I was kind of like, well, if he knew that this was there, has he not been out of the scar at all?
I think he has been out of the Scar. He just goes back. He's like in hiding almost.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
I can see that.
he's like in hiding and people kind of know of Dork or the myth of Dork, I would say, cuz that Dork's not even his name apparently. Like we don't
No.
even get his name in this, but Dork's apparently not his name. And he comes across these beings of darkness and they're sitting around a campfire eating a unicorn that they caught.
Yeah,
And
like the head of it.
they
Yeah,
yeah, have the head of it and they love eating unicorn meat because their farts smell so sweet.
yeah,
And it's funny. They're there and Dork is like up in the trees, you know, like looking around and trying to figure out what to do. And he has this fight with his shield because his shield is like bloodthirsty and shit, like wants to kill things. And Dork's like, we haven't killed anything for 20 years. We're
Yeah,
not going to start now.
it's a sentient shield.
Yeah, with the big giant eyeball, like you said,
Yeah.
and they're just watching, waiting, hopefully trying to like maybe go move away from there, or maybe get some meat later on. I don't really remember exactly, but they
Yeah,
get
they were trying to get some of the unicorn meat
yeah. And who happens to
and get
show
in a
up?
fight.
But the beings of light show up. The army of there are some of the like warriors of light show up, and they're like, they killed our unicorn. We got to get it back. And so like a fight ensues. A fight
Yes.
ensues with between the light and the dark over this dead unicorn. And this is where we get probably one of the funniest scenes, which this is when I actually like really hooked onto this book, was the stuff between Dork and his shield,
Yeah.
and how like they would banter back and forth with each other, and he's like, oh, don't get defensive now, and he's like, I'm a shield, that's all I do, I defend things. Like, I'm a
Right.
defensive weapon. Like that sense of humor got me, and I was like,
Yeah.
okay, I am in for this book, I have to say. I
Yeah.
am
Well,
totally in on it.
and the other thing is how well the shield is. I would say, because some things that happen, like it do remind me of Captain America, almost like how the shield
Oh yeah,
gets
he just
thrown.
flows himself around.
Yeah, like it almost seems like it's possessed with like magic in some way, where it can not only talk, but it can like ricochet back of its own volition or whatever.
Yeah,
Because Dork can kind of throw it, and then it will almost seem like Mjolnir, where it'll just find its way back to his hand at some point,
sometimes.
and then it kills people, and
Yeah,
you're just kind of like,
you're like,
what now?
what's going on? Yeah,
What
because
now?
we have this fight going on, and like everybody stops. Everybody stops this fight because they think the tree is like possessed or something. Like it's the spirit of the forest or something.
Yes.
And this is where things go from like bad to worse, because Shield starts talking, and he's like, "We're gonna fucking kill you, basically. If you don't like leave the meat, or we're gonna kill you." And they're like, "Oh my god, this tree is like, is this tree our friend or is it our foe? Like, what's
Yeah.
going on here?" And
And
which,
then and both sides end up stopping and going,
yeah,
"Are you our friend or our foe?" And then the other guy goes, "Yeah, that's a good question. Are you our friend or our foe?" Like they're working together.
yeah, they're working together to find out. Like,
Working together.
and we get this scene. They're like, "Oh, yeah, that's a good question, Frizzer." Which, like, if you don't know, it's like a play on a word.
Yeah.
It's a
So
whole thing.
Dork ends up jumping out of the tree
He's like,
and
"Frizzer, what the
and
hell?"
confronting him, and he goes, "Is it because you're a frog wizard?" And he
Yeah,
goes, "Yes."
yes. He's like,
Which
you just can't combine two names together and
right.
make a word.
So they ask our unknown character at this point who he is, and he goes, "Oh well, I'm a the child of a dwarf from the light side and an orc from the dark side."
Yeah.
And they go, "Oh my god, it's the dork."
It's the dork. And he's like, "That's not my name. That's not my name." And they apparently there is a prophecy in this world that Jork will basically destroy the world. He is the bringer of the
Yeah,
apocalypse.
which I think this is going to catch up with the book later on, because
Yeah.
the specific wording on it says a being of light that lives in the dark.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is 100% true, because yes, this guy doesn't look like any other orc, and he doesn't look like any other dwarf.
Yeah.
So he is this creature that at some point his dad and his mom had to have been from both sides, kind of Romeo and Juliet did that shit, and stuff
Mm-hmm.
happened. But
And then they left him, I'm guessing. They abandoned him or something, maybe. I don't know.
yeah, but he's not somebody that live like that. He's not a light character that lives in the dark. he's lived in the scar his entire life. So yes, he is a being of light and dark, but he's not the way that this prophecy thing keeps saying that it is. Which I feel like we're gonna have another character later on that it comes out as this character that is
Mm.
like a dwarf that is actually has lived in the Darklands or something.
Do you think maybe the prophecy might be wrong?
Could be, could
Maybe,
be. I don't
maybe.
know
Yeah.
because I mean, the prophecy says specifically that it's this, and I could
Hmm.
see all these characters that are kind of stupid thinking, "Oh my god, this has to be this person of this prophecy." But the way that these words keep getting thrown around, that is, and it gets said multiple times that a being of light that lives in the dark, and I'm like, okay, he doesn't live in the dark; he lives in the scar.
You said like these things are like, are these people
Yeah,
believe this stuff?
yeah,
You know, I hate to get a little political on this podcast, but it
yeah,
kind of cuts close to home, and it's very seems very relevant to today's day and age
yeah,
of how people view and believe stuff.
yeah, yeah,
You know, uh, a specific kind of people, I would say.
yeah.
Not gonna say who, but you,
No, I get what you're saying.
yeah,
That things get misconstrued on the internet, and then people
yeah,
believe it without doing their research into it.
yeah, stuff like that. And that's what
Uh,
this kind of seems like a little bit.
well, and I only have one thing to add to that is that all these people are like fantasy, like
Creatures,
poor people that really don't have those mindsets.
yeah,
So it makes sense because most of them really don't have brains compared to people that we're talking about.
yeah, yeah.
So it really throws me off that you were able to make such a good comparison with that. But it is very true.
I mean, after reading it a second time, I kind of feel like that kind of real world analogy kind of
Yeah.
gets put into this book. I don't know if the creator meant to do that, but
Oh yeah.
that's how I
We
feel like it's taken at one point
we'd
in
have to
this
know
book.
when they started writing it to know that specifically, I feel like.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, I honestly feel like if Dork wanted to say a line from another thing that we've been covering, I feel like Dork would be saying mouth breather to a lot of these
Oh
different
yeah, yeah,
creatures.
yeah, most definitely. But I will have to say, I don't think what Dork ends up doing at the end of this is not a bad message to the reader, I would say.
Yeah, I
You
agree.
know, and I feel like Dork takes steps into helping improve the world, I would say, from this
Yes.
war that's going on.
Yes. I agree. I also think that he's got the intention of part of it.
Hmm.
It's just sometimes things don't work out exactly the
No,
same way.
things do not work
Um
out sometimes.
because we did learn too that when push comes to shove,
Dork
he
can
does
fight.
he does act a little more like a vigilante.
Yeah, he has that berserker rage in him
Yeah.
because he goes berserk at this point and just beats the ever living shit out of both these like groups. Like
Yes.
he goes hard on them. But there was one point that I thought was really funny where like Shield kind of takes control of his arm and starts bashing things. Very
Yes.
very sentient, very Venom esque, I would say. And the shield gets thrown off, and he's like, "Wait, come back! I need you! I need you!" And he's
Yes.
just left there with Frizzard. And then he's like, I guess I gotta beat the shit out of you."
Yeah.
You
Well, and
know?
then I think Frizzard ends up saying he's going to cast a spell on him, and Shield
Yeah.
comes back. And
He hits him in the back of the head.
yeah, we don't know what he bounced off of, but he came
Yeah.
back and hit him.
Yeah. I forget. He said some kind of funny one liner, but I forget what he said. Like
Who?
the shield did.
Oh yeah, I can't remember.
Yeah, I can't remember. But yeah, they do end up doing that, and they defeat these guys, and I think they run away or something. I can't remember exactly. Like something happens to where
They just get beat up.
is it they just get beat up? Okay.
Yeah, because we go to a bar, and we'll branch off for a second and hop past the bar and come back to it. There are these two different guys, like an orc and I think a gnome, that go to
Oh yes,
their
yes.
perspective places and end up bringing like a letter or something, or telling these people of higher command, like, hey, we have seen this being, the prophecy is real, we need a bounty on his head.
Yeah.
um, both sides do this simultaneously at the same time, which this is another spot that I really loved in the book, because on one side you're getting one thing, and on the other side you're getting like the polar opposite picture
It
of it,
it very much
but it's
was
both
like
sides.
it very much was like polar opposites, I would say, or like a mirror of each
Yes,
other, you know.
yes,
Like when you said they like look alike, they look almost identical. There's little
yes,
slight changes here and there, but they're basically identical. Like one's supposedly good and one's supposedly bad, you know.
right, right. But I mean, yeah, I mean, I ideally they both look exactly the same, and then we continue on that where we're kind of having like a split page thing where you see
Yeah.
both of the sides
That was really cool.
doing the mirror image of it, and then we get to a point where our panels are a little different, where we
Mhm.
have a panel of the good side and what's going on. Like for instance, like the high priest or whoever's there ends up getting a thing, and they throw a piece of paper down or something, and there's a knife stab on it.
Yeah.
And then the box underneath it, the panel underneath that, is the opposite side doing exactly the same thing.
Yeah, yeah.
So you kind of get all the way through that little section of it where all that stuff's happening, and this bounty's getting put out for him on both sides as stuff is going on. And then at the end, it does another split big page where it's this priest guy of both sides or whatever, kind of both of them throwing their arms out to the entire group of people of light and the entire group of people from dark. Hey, we need to go get this guy so that
Yeah.
we can get back to what we're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
Which honestly, like, I don't want to call this, but I feel like it could be possible. um I wonder if the person that is like the high priest person, if they're either brothers or they're
Mm.
somehow like the one in the same, and there's like another wizard or somebody that's a higher person that's controlling both of them.
Oh, like
Because
puppets?
yeah, because both of these guys through these scenes doing the exact same thing, I was like, that would be super weird if that was to pop out that that's what that was.
Or like what if it was one person controlling everything?
Yeah,
And
controlling like the higher up things
yeah.
on both sides. Yes.
Yeah, that would be crazy. That would be crazy. And they end up sending out their two um
Best fighters.
best fighters basically to track down Dork, which
Yeah.
one is a dwarf
A
and one
dwarf.
is an orc.
One's a golem.
I thought it was a dwarf. A dwarf and
No,
an
no.
orc.
It's a dwarf and a golem.
Oh, I thought it was an orc.
It was a missed opportunity. I agree with you. Because I'm watching this and I'm reading it and I was like, oh my god, what if we find out that this is the dwarf and the orc that did that? That created that
Well, I
20
will
years ago.
I
And then I
will
was like, it's a dwarf and a golem. You guys ruined this.
I I don't know because I thought it was an orc.
No, it's a golem.
Okay, I'll have to go back and reread that part.
Yeah,
Because
it
no,
threw me off too.
I got the same thing, the same thing as you. I thought of like, oh, maybe this is his parents, you know.
Yeah.
But I read issue 3, and it looks like they're not his parents.
No.
Issue 3
Um,
actually starts out with the backstory for the dwarf, which is pretty fun.
okay.
Like,
Yeah, it's uh Gloinspear the dwarf
yeah.
and Olivine the dark golem.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I wanted it to be an orc, and I was like, "Why does this orc look so weird?"
Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, "This doesn't look like an orc."
No.
But anyways, moving back, rewinding back to the bar. Uh, we see Dork talking to his shield, eating his, what was it, like
His gravy.
his gravy, gulch gravy, or whatever it was. And he's
Yeah.
talking to him like, I'm nothing special whatsoever. Because Shield is like, hey, we need to do something now because they're basically going to be putting a hit out on you. And you need to choose a side, regardless of what you think is right or wrong, basically. You need
Yeah.
to choose a side. And Dork's like, I am nothing special. There's no prophecy about me. Like, I am just me.
Yeah. And
I'm just,
I'm not gonna pick
yeah.
between the light side and the dark side because virtually both of them are the exact same, and nobody's gonna make me pick between the two to try and fight between all the stuff.
Because you think, like, they basically could use him as a weapon,
Yes.
to for advantage over the other or something. If they don't kill him, you know, if they don't
Yeah.
kill him. But we have this scene in the bar where these two, one is from the light side and one is from the dark side. They're fighting. They're fighting in this bar, and like they're causing like a ruckus, I would say. And we see this waiter who is called Chicken. It's a chicken waiter, and he
Yes.
he brings Dork his like stuff. He's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, they're ruining your meal. Let me go talk to them in my stern voice. I'll take care of this for you." And he goes to talk to him. Chicken does, and he's like, "Hey, y'all need to stop. Take this outside, stuff like that." They do not do that. They actually make things worse, and I think they turn on them and they start like a bigger fight. And they're going to go after Chicken, but Dork stops them and it's like, "Hey, if whoever has a problem with this tasty looking chicken has a problem with me. He told y'all to take it outside, and that's what y'all are going to need to do." And he's like, "Okay, you're not going to take it outside. We're going to fight.
Yeah.
That's what we're
And
going to do."
then it basically kicks both sides off like, oh man, this guy said we're gonna fight. Let's go. So they
Yeah.
all got in a fight.
And
And
Shield is like, "Okay, did you choose a side?" And he's like, "Yeah, I chose a side. I choose the chicken."
yeah.
Like he's choosing to help the dark or the light in a sense.
Well, and we're not told if chicken is dark or light.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying, like, he is
Yeah.
willing to, what we find out later on, I would say, later on, issue 2, he is willing to help and better both sides, it seems like, to help mend this rift between the two sides that are fighting, I would say,
Yes.
in a
Yes.
sense. Um, which I like this scene. This scene is pretty cool. It's very bloody and very Invincible esque, I would say, with the fight scenes.
Yeah. Well, and we get the first thing of him kind of losing himself as well.
Yeah, yeah. He
He starts fighting and he starts beating people up, and we do have one of those intense scenes, which it was one of those that it's really close up to the character while they're fighting.
mhm.
And I was totally like, oh god, he's about to kill the chicken. I don't know how he's gonna
I
do it. He is about to kill the chicken.
I didn't expect what happened to happen.
I wasn't expecting that the part that came after it, but I was expecting the death of the chicken. I just also imagined that he like raged and that he
Yeah.
was going to look down on the floor and he had killed the chicken.
He
And
basically threw the shield at the chicken and decapitated him,
yes, yes,
which leads to our big surprise of this issue, which is um the death shield has some special magical powers, one might say. We don't really know what 100%, but Chicken's head is now a ghost,
yes.
but his
And
body is still around.
his body is now virtually a zombie.
Yes. And
Um,
we find out that this is a death shield, and usually I think like witches make death items.
yeah,
I think it was.
yeah. I think that's what it was. But yeah, no, I completely think that it was. Or yes, the witches were the people that made the death items, and that whenever he did hit the chicken, like the chicken's head died and
Yeah.
became a ghost, but the body turned into like a zombie, which
I,
makes me laugh what happens with the body in book 2 or issue
yeah,
2.
which is it's funny. It's funny because Chicken's like, oh, you got yourself a death shield. At least you didn't have like, what was it, a death shoe, or was it a death
Yeah, he
something else?
goes
Like,
through like a lot of items. He goes,
yeah,
you don't have a death shoe, you didn't have a death pan, you didn't have like all these other things that might not have been that good of a thing.
I guess death weapons are known. Maybe they're rare, but they're known about. I would
I
say,
don't know because we haven't seen another one yet. So I can't
yeah,
actually say how well that is known.
yeah, yeah. And our issue ends with the whole reveal that they're sending people out to them. But Dork is trying to get back to the Scar to lead his normal life and not be uh this weird prophecy thing. And he
Yeah.
doesn't want to die, basically. So he runs off with Chicken's shield and Chicken's body to try to get back to his normal little life.
Yes.
So let me ask you, what did you think of issue 1?
5 out of 5.
Fun. I mean, I have to agree with you as well. Rereading this was just fun. It was fun. There wasn't like there was a lot to it, but it was just it didn't take itself 100% that serious. It had like a really nice balance of like serious and not serious, I would
Yeah.
say.
Yeah.
And you even said it before we got on the podcast. You're like, this kind of feels like Bone a little bit.
Yeah. 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 It feels like the Bone books. If anybody's ever read that, it's kind of like a little white cartoony guy and a fantasy type land with these giant kind of not exactly rat. They kind of look like a mixture of like a rat or a bear and like a gremlin with like bug eyes. Uh, and that's kind of a fantasy based book, and that's kind of what this book reminded me of.
Yeah.
So it was very, very fun reading this, and I don't think it puts too much emphasis on itself like some of the other books that we have read, or comics, or even manga that we've read. It doesn't, I feel like, take itself into a realm where like everything is very hard on it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
Um,
I could see it going to those places
yeah,
potentially, but I think it has that nice balance. And that's what you
yeah,
need, I feel like. You need a nice
yeah,
balance. It was funny, it was witty, it was, there was action-packed sort of serious moments. It kind of had everything, and it didn't bog us down with like, oh, here's like I'm going to use this as an example, Lord of the
yeah.
Rings. I
Okay.
love Lord of the Rings, but I don't need like 15 pages of how the wheat and the grass look.
Yeah. Uh, no, I would kind of agree with that. That they did do that in this book. Like we said, if the comparison is like really intensive detail, like some of the superhero
Yeah.
volumes that we have or issues that we have, where you're getting like the entire detail of like what Gotham looks like, what's currently going on, because they don't want to start you at the beginning of that scenario or whatever is happening in the book,
Yeah.
and you have like 2 pages that seem like they have 1,000 words apiece on them. This one is very easy in that because you're getting kind of the world building early on,
Mhm.
and we do get that really cool map up front of what things are going to be, kind
Yeah.
of, sort of. And it just kind of goes from there. So, I mean, it is just a very fun thing of reading it, and we do get to experience part of what we know and what you want to keep reading it for, in the thing of like the interaction of dwarf and shield, or dork and
Yeah.
shield.
Yeah, and then we get our little I would say I don't want to say complete party, but a somewhat complete party with Chicken and Dork and Shield.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we have that one character that is kind of like the mentor character in
Hmm.
Shield. We have Dork that's out trying to figure out, that also has like a Dr. Jackal side, Mr. Hyde to himself somewhat. That has a really good thing that he wants to do because he wants to save both sides. And then we have Chicken that is just the complete opposite, like no nuts funny character that you're like,
He questions everything.
he questions everything. And getting into chapter 2, I like that because they make a reference to something that almost seems like he's thinking with his little head,
Uh huh.
when that's not exactly what they're throwing out exactly, because there's no oxygen going to his ghost brain.
Yeah.
That turns into something else funny. But jumping into issue 2, we have where Dork is basically, he's got a rope tied around Chicken's body's neck.
Hmm.
Chicken is floating up and is asking him all these random questions about, hey, if a dwarf can do this or an orc can do this, can you also do that?
Like one of them was
Is
breathe fire.
Yeah, can a dwarf breathe fire, and can an orc shoot lightning out of their eyeballs?
Yeah.
And of course, Dork is like, no. I can't do either one of those, and I'm pretty sure those races can't do any of those.
Yeah, it's fun. It's funny. Like it's really funny because we're picking up after issue 1 left off, and they're like climbing up this big cliff. Which I love the little touch of the dragons being looking really hungry towards chicken.
Yeah.
It was funny. They're like almost like licking their lips, being like, "Let me get some of that
Yeah,
rotisserie
yeah.
chicken.
I'm trying. We're trying to fly.
We're trying to fly and get these chicken." But yeah, they end up getting up to this top of the mountain that they're climbing up. Chicken's asking like 200 questions at the moment.
Yeah,
Dork's getting kind of annoyed with them and stuff. And they get up here and they find a bunch of dead bodies.
yeah,
A bunch of dead bodies, warriors from the light and the dark, but they're like severely decayed.
yeah.
Like,
Decayed, rotting,
mhm.
other things like that. And again, we're saying light and dark, and yet in this instance, it looks like again they're working together to try and get Dork.
Yeah, because they were like, "Oh, is this might have been like a ambush or something? Like, what's going on here?"
Yeah.
And, which they're trying to figure things out, and then the fucking children of the corn show up,
Yes.
which are these
Which,
kids. They're not actually the children of the corn, but they remind me of the children of the corn.
yeah, they're kids with these weird little masks that kind of reminded me almost of like spider eyes, because
Yeah.
they have all these little jewels on them. And kind of what these masks are like mind controlling devices,
Mm-hmm.
um, for the Time Lord, which this is something I brought up to you early on before we started recording on. Was a Time Lord supposed to be a reference to like Doctor Who or something?
I don't
Um,
know.
but
I really don't know.
you have a Time Lord that has created these daggers that have some kind of mechanism in it where it stills life essence and things of creatures.
Yeah, and these
And
these kids have them.
these kids have them, and basically what this Time Lord looks like is kind of a metal robotic knight.
It reminds me of Doctor Nefarious
Oh yeah, that's
from
pretty good.
like
That's pretty
Ratchet and
good.
Clank.
Yes, that's pretty good. That is a pretty good. I didn't even think of that. But you have him, and then he has these kids that he sends in with these daggers, so he doesn't have to get close enough. That basically stab people to death uh, through aging, and
Yeah,
then the knives end up absorbing all this stuff into them.
yeah, it's pretty crazy because Dork gets hit a couple times. He's like, "What should I do?" And like, well, we should beat these kids up. That's what we should
Yeah,
do.
yeah. Shield tells him that, beat them kids up.
Beat
You
them
should be
up.
doing this stuff. What are you doing right now? Make sure if you're gonna win that you're not getting stabbed anymore. Make sure you miss those. Um, And we do get to a point where Dork has gotten stabbed so much with him that his hand ends up falling off,
Yeah.
which ends up having kind of our side characters have stuff that they now have to do an
Which
accomplishment of that.
which I want to talk about this one scene where like Chicken is like looking at something like rustling in the bushes. And
Yes.
his body goes over there. He's like, "Oh wait, where's my body going?" And then all the kids just start stabbing his body
Oh yes.
relentlessly.
And then it's like black and everything. It looks like a pile of shit.
They just like stab, 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 stab.
Yeah.
And then we find like the big bad, which is the Time Lord who shows up. And I don't remember if it was him or the kids got to Dork.
It
And
was the
Dork,
kids.
okay, the kids got the Dork because he let his guard down basically, and he starts to become like dust and bones almost,
Yeah, yeah,
which leaves Shield and Chicken very like defenseless, I would say, at this point.
yeah.
Uh,
And,
and
and of course, you think like nobody else is going to be able to pick up any of these pieces now that the arm's fallen off. Uh, Shield's not going to be able to do anything and whatnot. And then we have this really weird thing where
but
Chicken gets.
I want to talk about this one thing though.
Okay.
The thing, it was I think it was before Dork gets like dusted or whatever.
Yeah.
We find out that the Time Lord has been taking these orphan kids from the war, like their parents have died or whatever, from the light and the dark sides, and he's been using them as like his
Yes.
own little personal army.
Yes.
You know, and like you can see like the effect it has on the kids because they kind of break that veil almost at this point of like, you know, he has complete utter control of these children.
Yeah.
You
And it's
know,
both groups,
yeah,
kids from the light and kids from the dark,
yeah,
which it's kind of like he takes them and he does bring up that it's kids that were babies.
yeah.
So one of the things that I question with part of that is, were they kids that were babies? Because we also find out towards the end that you can do something and the blades will swap
Mm-hmm.
on what they can do. They can actually put life back out. And one of the things that I was questioning is, did the Time Lord ever do that and flip the daggers where he made these kids grow older faster,
That
and
was
maybe some of these kids have like an IQ of a first-year-old or a kindergartner, or
mhm.
a baby, because their bodies have aged.
That's actually a very interesting theory because I did not pick up on that when I was
Yeah,
reading this.
yeah, and that's not
Uh,
something that they dove into too much,
yeah,
either. But we do know that it gets touched on about the daggers. It doesn't really get touched on about the goggle things that these kids are wearing
yeah.
that he actually uses to control them.
But he ends up actually picking up Shield, and he's like, "Oh, like you're like just a common Shield, but like there's something going on with you.
Yeah, there's
Like,
something. You're a common shield with an uncommon curse.
yeah, there's something going on with you, but we don't really get to know like what is going on with him." And like Shield kind of like I don't want to say like changes his tune on like wanting to kill everybody, but he's like, we gotta help Dork.
Yeah,
Like he becomes very selfless, I would say, in the situation.
yeah,
And he basically he kind of like gets Chicken to, I don't want to say take one for the team, but like take one for the team.
yeah. He kind of tells Chicken like, "Hey, you need to kind of like headbutt this guy or do
Yeah.
something."
And I love this scene where Chicken is charging at him with his
Yes,
severed head. And we see like Chicken goes through the Time Lord. And I love that the word just says possession.
yeah. When he goes into the Time Lord,
Yeah, he goes into him
yeah,
and he possesses the Time Lord. He finds like this is his special ability,
yeah.
which I will say his special ability does not work on everybody.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it does not work on everybody.
Okay, okay. I was like, whoa, this could be cool. He can use it all the time.
No,
Um,
it doesn't work on everybody. You'll find out in issue 3.
Well, and this is another thing I like about the book, though, is whenever he does possess the Time Lord's appearance turns more like Chicken's appearance.
Yeah, yeah. And he's like, "What's going on? How did I get? Why am I in this body?" And he's like, "Oh, I just like did a bunch of time shit." Like he starts
Yeah,
explaining it, and I'm like, "Well, okay, okay,
yeah.
we'll believe you, chicken," because
And
everything
then,
just turns back to normal.
well, and then they bring up the whole thing. They were like, "Well, how is that possible?" And he goes, Shield goes, "I think he's getting oxygen to his brain again." So
Yeah,
that's kind of like this weird, stupid thing that's in it. Like, oh yeah, because he possessed somebody, he's actually got a brain now that has oxygen running to it. Um, so that was kind of a little gem in it as well. But he, like we were talking about earlier, he redoes the knives where they can have the opposite effect. They
hmm,
put life back into Dork, and they know that they have a lot of life left over in them. And Shield goes, we can put this in you too, and basically you'll have life forever. Which, in that, I have a question about. Is, yes, he had all these lives that he would get, but wouldn't that also de-age him, where he would turn back into like a baby?
I don't know. I don't know because they do something interesting with him. Like they put him in a time loop.
That's different. So we'll come back to
Okay,
that. So Dork goes, no, what we're going to do is all these guys that were hunters that were out to get me, we're going to give them their lives back.
yeah,
So they all come back up to life and everything. And Dork says, well, the other thing is, I'm too young to be a parent.
that's right. He's like, I can't take care of all these kids.
He goes, so the good thing is that the light people can have the light kids, the dark people can have the dark kids. That sounded really bad. Um, and
I mean, it only sounded a little bit weird. Just saying.
yeah, and he goes, and then I won't have to be the parent to them, and we will prospectively send them back to where they need to be.
Yeah.
And it's real funny in this instance because of how the guys are, and they're thanking Dork for basically doing that. Like, hey, we turned to leave. There isn't this weirdness of, oh my god, Dork is this scum of the world anymore.
Hmm.
It's kind of like, he changed the way that things were going to be.
You change
Uh,
their perspective on how they look at the world.
yeah, which we get another comment from Shield, basically like, oh, so you do think things out, and how Shield said it in such a way too. Dork goes, well, I also have to say that you seem like you're softening up to the world too a little
Yeah.
bit,
Yeah.
buddy. And that's when we get this whole thing where Chicken, still possessing the Time Lord, goes away, and we see Chicken's ghost head come back,
Hmm.
and he's telling us what happened, and somehow he did something to the knives where I believe half of them gave and half of them took. So the Time Lord was going back and forth in between this not having vitality, having vitality, not having
Yeah.
vitality, having vitality.
He just gets stuck
Uh,
there.
yeah, which is where we kind of get close to the end of the book as the Gloin Spear, the dwarf,
Yes. Yes.
the dwarf guy from the light side ends up coming up to ask him questions as he's going in between both of these sides, and he ends up basically taking it and taking his hammer and busting his head in.
He like swishes him like a watermelon.
Yes,
And that's how our book ends. That's how our book ends. Gloin Spear gets this information about like where Dork is going, basically.
yes, yes.
Which Gloin Spear looks like a bad mamma jamma, I would say.
Yeah, he does.
In this, he does. Was he a good person? Was he for the light?
Who?
Gloin Spear, I forget.
Gloin Spear is for the light.
Okay, yeah. He seemed a little bit evil, just saying.
He did. I kind of wonder if that's going to be a thing that we will have coming out at some point eventually, where Gloinspear is a little evil and Olivina or whatever her name is, the golem is a little
Like
light, a little
like
good.
nicer maybe.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
we're gonna have this weird thing happen where Dork is gonna realize that everybody has kind of like light and darkness in them. It's just how people have presented themselves.
Yeah, it's he's an interesting adversary, I would say. Gloinsphere seems to be.
Yeah.
I kind of wish they didn't crush the Time Lord's head.
Well, and
I
if we know that the Time Lord's out there, there must be more Time Lords.
Yeah, like I was like I kind of wanted to see him maybe as like a recurring character, possibly.
I mean, I was surprised that he was even a thing.
Like I mean, because they like just killed him off in the second issue.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and it was very sci-fi that we had
Yeah,
this character and what he did.
yeah,
Because like his dagger seemed more technology based than magic based.
yeah. But I mean,
So
we're not like 100% like in this world. I would say like we're still like on the outskirts of knowing the ins and outs of this world,
yeah.
and
Well,
like,
and I would say that the fact that they even knew that this guy was a Time Lord means
mhm.
that there's got to be other Time Lords or somebody like that that somebody knows.
Yeah, I feel like we're just scratching the surface of this universe. And this one really felt like it was a little bit of like a side story to me. Like I don't feel like it 100% like adds anything to the main story except for like what Dork does and how he affects the story.
Yeah.
But like it feels like a little bit of a one-off to me.
Um, I don't know. I feel like this was one that they tried to use really to like invest just in the characters little more.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
I mean, because
because we,
Chicken and Shield take center stage on this book.
yeah. Um, but I say that because I feel like we now know that Chicken can possess things.
Yes.
We did find out a little more about Shield that Shield is this uncommon curse on a common shield.
Yeah.
Um, and we had some other stuff like that, and we had where you know we have like a sci-fi element to it, where that I wonder will we have more of sci-fi s stuff that happens in the story,
Yeah.
so there is just a chunk of different things that are in this that I feel like kind of what you said, we just don't know yet, but that we'll get there.
Yeah, no, most definitely. Like I am looking forward to seeing where this journey takes us.
Yeah. Well,
Because
what do you think of the second issue? What
I
score would
liked
you
it.
give
I
that?
loved it. I think it was still a 5 out of 5.
I
Like
agree.
like
I
it
agree.
was it still had that like fun, and like it still got me, and I was like, ooh, yeah, I like this. Like I like that they were dealing with almost like the like what was left, like what how the war how this war like affected like the common man, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it
No,
like
agreed. And I
yeah,
mean, I think there's a lot of things that we're going to have. And I would say in that aspect, I think it is a one off. I think there's a lot of things that aren't going to necessarily be explained, nor will we have something that's tied into that to be explained, like the Time Lord situation.
or
Um,
this little act of kindness could pay off in a big way moving forward.
yeah, I will, and we would see that. I just mean some
Yeah,
of the other things that are happening in
yeah,
this from that. Um, we probably won't go back to the Gulch and get to see what happens from
no,
the stuff with since Chicken's gone.
no more unicorn farts.
Yeah, I mean, some of the other things like that, we may not get some of those things, but we may get other things in replacement of those. Um, yeah, and I would say again, like top marks on this. There's only one thing that I found in this that is kind of a contradiction. I don't think that it understood or that the person
Yeah,
caught, which was that if Jork has been living in the scar for 20 years, we would assume
hmm
that he is 20, but the wordage between him and Shield was at one point that Shield hasn't killed anybody for 20 years.
Oh.
And that's one of the aspects of this I think was probably an oversight that doesn't make a lot of sense unless
Yeah.
we do find out that Dork is actually a lot older than what he is.
Maybe Dork is a lot older than what we think he is.
Yeah. And maybe he has amnesia and or something like that. And maybe they
Yeah.
accidentally killed once. I
Yeah.
mean, there's a lot of different things, and we know that he's had shield this entire time, supposedly. What else is going to be out of there for more things that are going to come?
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
I'm really glad that we got to cover this.
yeah,
I'm really glad you liked it because I know you're not like 100% like a comic book person,
yeah,
but like I was like I think this would be like right up his alley. Like after I read it, I was like I think Jen would really like this.
yeah, yeah.
You
Oh
know.
no, most def. And this is something that I do hope that if you want to find me on Bard's Tavern on Instagram and in other places, that I will be able to post this directly to my wall and actually push this episode pretty hard because of it being more of a D&D fantasy based
Yeah.
comic.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, no, I'm really excited to release this. I really want to push the Stranger Thing episodes off and release this like tomorrow
yeah,
because I love it. I love it so much. Like
yeah,
I just like this world that we're in. Like we don't get that many like fantasy books nowadays. Normally it's like sci-fi and stuff, and like
yeah,
it's very like a breath of fresh air. I would say. I feel like some people don't like it because this is a very popular book at the moment. It's a hot book at the moment, and that's okay if it doesn't jive with you,
yeah,
but like it's doing something different.
yeah.
And I like
One,
that.
and the fact of, well, you and I both read it, and there are people that didn't like it that you and I both know about. But you and I both gave this solid scores for both these issues.
Yeah.
Um,
Like we're
and
kind of I feel like we're kind of straight shooters. Like if we don't like
yeah,
something, we're going to say we don't like it.
yeah.
We're not going to sugarcoat anything.
And compared to like our other comic series that we are covering, which is White Sky, there are problems with that, and that is something that you and I have both acknowledged with it that
Yeah,
is in
yeah.
that series. This one, besides like the one part that I brought up of this timeline we don't exactly know about, if it was just overlooked or whatever, that, like, we both gave both of these issues 5 out of 5. Like, I find no problems in this one really, and while that is an insight, this is also more of a comical one, so that
Hmm.
may be something that gets pulled back in later on or something else like that. That's why, if it was another one that I think took itself really seriously like White Sky did, I think I would dock it points. But because it is a comical one,
Hmm.
I think getting this weird, we don't exactly have this timeline specifically down, I don't think it would give it negative points at all.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, no,
Um,
I get you. I get what you're saying.
yeah, and I mean,
Yeah.
like I said, like we both said, it is a very fun read.
Yeah,
Like,
it's fun. It's fun and it's fast.
yeah, I mean,
You
if you
know,
get a chance to sit down and read it, like, you'll love it. I think issue 1 was the longer of the two, sitting at like
it felt
20.
longer.
It was longer. It
Yeah, it
was like,
was.
yeah, it was like 28 or 30, because I think it ended at 36. So we got a couple extra pages on this one for
Hmm.
issue 1. Issue 2 ended at like 26 and had, I think, exactly 30 pages, but that's also counting advertisement and everything else in it. So
Yeah,
we did get some stuff like that.
yeah.
But
No,
no,
I'm glad we actually covered this for sure.
yeah. And
Um,
it will be one I think that we will enjoy covering as we go forward. And like we've brought up, um, covering Bones is going to be fun, or covering
yeah,
Bone is going to be fun as well at some point. And some of the other ones that are more fantasy based, for other things, because we are covering something kind of supernaturally with Stranger Things, and then now we're
Yeah,
getting something that's more fantasy based with these. So
and we only have to cover this like once a month or once every other month, I would say. You know,
yeah,
so
yeah, yeah,
yeah. No, I hope people go check this out if they can find it. You know, it has gone into like a second and third printing. I think even more probably even to like fourth printing
yeah,
because the first printing sold out like hotcakes. You know, if not, go read it digitally. I would say do not go pay the exorbitant amount that people are asking for it. They're asking a lot for it.
yes,
So don't do that. Don't do that. You know, just go read it on like Comixology or something. You know,
yep,
simple. Just read it digitally. So yeah, definitely go check it out. And I'm looking forward to like the rest of this journey that we're going on. You know,
yes.
it's weird. We went from an anime podcast and now we're like a anime comic pop culture podcast. That's weird to say.
Retro pop culture explanation questions unknown.
But yeah, Jin, where can I find you at?
You can find me at Otakuology, where every place that is. You can find me at Bard's Tavern on Instagram, and some other stuff, and soon to be on YouTube. Um, Other things like that. So,
Yeah. And make sure to go check out our podcast on Apple Podcasts, rate and review our podcast, or Spotify. Go check us out on YouTube. Give us a sub if you like our podcast over there. We also do some extra stuff over there from time to time, and you can catch me also at the Otaku Mic, where I talk about all about comic books and stuff like that. And yeah, we'll catch you guys on the next one.
yep. See ya next Tuesday.